Welcome back to another episode of Move by Move series where I am playing players of the same level as I am and explaining my thinking process, what openings I play, and just try to, increase my rating and at the same time teach you some chess. It's episode 39, we're getting close to episode number 40, and since the first episode, we gained 168 rating points. And we don't stop there, we move on. Let's find our opponent for today's episode. Let's go. And we find our opponent immediately. Sreyan Homvik joined July 2, 2025. So, I gotta be a bit careful. Right now, knight f6. And let's see what he is going to play. c4. I play 6. And now there are multiple approaches. Yeah, he plays knight f3. I'm going to play b6 and transpose to queen's Indian defense. My next move is bishop e7, probably bishop b4, then castle, play, let's say, knight d4. Let's see what he plays. I know a bunch of theory here, but again, it really depends on what white play themselves. And now bishop b4. There are now two moves, bishop d2 or knight d2. Both moves are good. But let's see, bishop d2 is what people play more, yes, and now we get our bishop back to e7. Bishop on d2 will have spent some time to get, let's say, to get to f4. We go castle, knight c3, and now we play c6 and play d5. And transpose to the main line, and that's very interesting. e4, we play d5, immediately striking in the center. Now it's e5, knight e4. The main line goes like c takes d5, c takes d5, and there will be two approaches, bishop e3 or bishop f4, and then there are just a lot of interesting stuff. But let's see, he can play bishop e3 immediately, but then I take on c3, I take on c4, and try to hold on to the pawn on c4. But usually, yes, the idea is to play c takes d5, c takes d5, and not, let's say, rook e1 or something, and then basically trying to create some attack on the king side with bishop f4, h4, g4, g5, h5, h6, and checkmate black. And the thing is, I'm not sure why he spent so much time. Yes, because c takes d5 is one of the main moves. I'll just pre-move it, just in case. Rook e1, I believe I can play knight c3, I can just play knight d2 and then play knight c6, knight a5. And in general, black don't have a lot of troubles in this position, but you never know. We'll see how it goes now, but it should be generally straightforward game. Yeah, bishop e3. Now the point is knight c6. I think is not the best option because white will be able to take. So let's first go knight c3, and then my knight will go to c6. And the idea is to occupy c4 square with knight a5 and consecutive rook c8. For white, the best plan right now is to try to play h4, something like king d2 or queen c1, king d2. Goes this way. You know what's interesting? I had, now let's say f4. f4 might be played. I had exactly the same position not a long time ago. And no, my opponent played a bit different way, but he played f4, tried to attack. Now takes, knight c4, I go queen d5. And probably slightly worse, but I can't say that, it's something critical. Probably just around equal. So I had exactly the same position, one of my over-the-board chess games during the summer, and my opponent played f4. I played rook c8, he played rook c1, and then I played bishop a6, and I wanted to change. It goes this way. Now I want to play rook c8, attacking the knight. Goes this way, and now what if I play rook c6? Like, is it a big deal? Because rook c6 and then rook c8. And I think it actually looks good. Probably still around equal, but rook c8, b5. The ideal square for this knight, let's say, is d5. But again, I don't see how I can potentially do it, so I'll have to first try and bring my rook, and then hopefully we can get something going. But honestly, the way I see it is that Okay, 92 or 92 actually lose a pawn on a2 potentially, because takes, so he has to be careful. The problem is there's always rook c7 in the end of the line. That's why he plays a4. He tries to avoid this bad trade. But knight b2, the thing I see is I can just take and then take on d4. And knight d2 just loses. So it looks like I just win a pawn on d4. And then I just slide my queen back. And suddenly it looks winning. Not sure if it's correct, but yeah, I just see that knight b2 takes, then takes, then I go queen d4. Maybe there is queen a6. Yeah, there is some queen a6 though. And suddenly he takes. But maybe I have queen c3. So it's very complicated. Queen b7, queen c1. And then oh, he gives up the pawn a bit different way. But what if I take with bishop? Takes. Yeah, I think I'll take with bishop and then takes. Then it should be a win. Like, I don't see how white can try and play this for a win. Okay, what if I take? Takes. Now, yeah, queen a6 is one of the active options. Then knight f5. Okay, queen a6, rook c7, bishop f4, rook d7, takes. Has to be winning, but you never know. I have also 3 minutes more in my opponent, so it's also a huge benefit in this case. But knight f5, as soon as I play knight f5, yeah, I think it's over, because knight d4 is coming. Like, I have to play h6 at some point as well, but can I take? I can't take though. f6 looks winning though. Knight d4 is coming, and bishop has to move. He might play g4, but knight h4, and then checkmate on g2, bishop on e5. I mean, it's probably a loss, and he's losing his connection. I can see him just resigning this game basically. Now good connection. Interesting. Let's see, but it honestly looks completely lost. Yeah, goes knight this, knight d4. This is coming. e5 is coming too. Oh, and he tries to trick me, but queen h5. And I win a queen and win the game. And now let's get to the analysis. Guys, I played a great game. The accuracy is 97.2, and yes, I mean, I didn't really have any time to blunder, because I was very familiar with the opening, with the ideas. Bishop f3, takes, knight c6. Computer says bishop a6 is actually best, and then knight c6, knight a5, but yeah, I can remember that maybe you have to play bishop a6 first and then knight c6, knight a5, but knight c6 is what I previously have played, so knight d2, knight a5, c4, takes, knight c4, queen d5, that's all best. Now rook a8, rook c1, rook c6. I thought it's a great move just because potentially I want to trade off everything along c file, and now a4 is a mistake. And I can understand that he wanted to play a4 for the sole reason that knight d2 or knight b2 now doesn't work due to queen a2. And if he can't play knight a3 due to bishop a3, so he's kind of tied to protecting this pawn, and if a3 is played, then just rook c8, so he had some problems. Computer says knight d2 anyways, and then let's say if I trade and play queen a2, then there is rook c7 and he just wins a piece. So due to the tactical, vision, you can kind of protect this pawn, even though it looks like you're losing it. You should just calculate one move ahead, like what if he takes and what if I do it anyways. And I kind of saw that rook c7, so I would probably play rook c8 here, and then I try to take next move. But yes, I mean, he didn't see it and plays a4, and now I'm one tempo ahead. And the problem is now he will lose d4 pawn, which is extremely more important. But he had to play this. Rook c1 was surprisingly a lot better. Yeah, what if you take with this? Rook c1, bishop e6, basically transposed to the following endgame, where yes, I can agree potentially that it's probably even worse than we got in the game. But yeah, bishop d6, takes, but I thought that it has to be winning. Anyways, and yeah, bishop f5 was kind of final mistake. So he kind of set it up a trap. So if bishop d4 does takes and rook d1, currently I'm still holding due to queen f6. But of course, you don't want to allow this to happen because yes, last rank is still unprotected. There are some queen a6 active possibilities, so I would be a bit scared. Like again, now rook c2 and black are completely winning, but still, you know, I didn't want to transpose to an endgame where, you know, I might have a chance to draw. So I played bishop f5 f6, and then it turns out that the bishop goes anywhere 94, and then we start checks. Bishop f4 94, he plays queen h5 setting up queen e8, but now of course I see that queen h5, I capture and win the game. Great win, 23-63. I'm not sure how many games I won in a row, but in the last couple of episodes I think I'm winning pretty much every single game and I feel good about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you soon. See you next week in the episode number 40. It's crazy. 40 episodes already. Imagine if at some point we'll reach, let's say 100. That will be a huge milestone in, let's say, a couple of years. But yeah, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Bye bye.